So, another thing that I wanted to bring up too, because I've been having conversations with other women, and they ask me, like, "Well, you sound like you're in a great place now," and I'm like, "Actually, yeah, we're in a great place now, but it's always, I don't want to give off the fake image of us being perfect.
It's not.
I
I
don't
don't think
want
it's
to."
ever. Nothing
It's
is ever
it's
perfect.
never perfect,
Yeah.
but when people see on the outside what we share on social media, I do want to be very not too transparent where you like see everything.
Yeah. You don't want to
Um,
see like yeah the
right.
ups and downs, up and
But
yeah.
know that we are a real couple with real struggles, probably very similar to yours. And I'm so grateful and proud like that you even come on the do this with me. That you're willing to do this. And many other women that I've talked to, they're like, "Holy crap, that would be so good for us." Like
Mhm.
they start imagining, "Dude, what if my husband or what if my significant other would talk to me this way?"
Mhm.
Like, and really actually listen and say something back meaningful. And so I'm like, oh man, that's yeah. I mean, like our podcast is like our therapist, basically. You know,
Yeah.
they
The
keep
Mac
us
is keeping us grounded.
is keeping us grounded, is allowing us to say things clearly without being bitchy or mean or what you would normally do behind closed doors.
Mhm.
So it allows us to have a decent conversation and actually create problem solve our issues. So it's really nice. But the question that I always get is like, so how did it happen? How did you get from there? How did you stop having the same argument? How did you like help your husband realize he was being a boy? And then vice versa. How did you help your wife stop being a girl about things? So my example like of girl behavior into woman behavior is like not talking, not opening up to you and just saying it's fine or whatever or what like not talking like how I first came into this relationship. And so maybe we can kind of lay out, I think what would be most helpful is how did we pivot away from our most toxic patterns, because really when you have the same fight or you feel like you're having the same fight or you feel like you've been here before, I've said this a million times, like it's because both of you have a certain pattern. Like you and I, we had a pattern at how we were dealing with hard stuff in our marriage. I would like shut down. I would keep everything in. I wouldn't tell you the full truth, or I would talk to everybody else about it and not tell you about it. And then resent and keep it in for a long time, and then tell myself and deny to myself that I was still mad or still hurt. And so that was my biggest pattern at how I would deal with it. On your end, how did you deal with our like repeating stuff?
I think it like comes out in explosive times.
Uh
Like
huh.
it just always keep telling you like I can forget about it, and you're like, no, you
Yeah, that's
don't
right.
forget
Yeah, you
about it.
don't forget.
So, but then it stacks on top of each other, and it
Yes.
comes out in like random explosive times.
Yeah,
Like
that's right. That's right.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then it just goes down the list from there.
I'll give you to be more clear what you mean or think what you mean
Mhm.
is like we'll be having an argument about letting go of email before,
Mhm.
and you really don't want to do it and you're giving me a lot of resistance, and then I figure out by talking to you that there was just so much other stuff that was piled in your head
Yeah.
that you were worried about, that you had the feeling of responsibility. I got to pay for this. I got to do this. My mom this, like all this stuff.
Mhm.
And then it was manifesting into this fear of, I can't do one more thing you ask me. I'm not going to let go of email. You know what I mean? Like, do not ask me to change my routine. I was like, and then when I learned that,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, he also does not feel supported. He also is coming from parents that they did their best, but dang, like there's a lack of support there. And I was telling you the other day is like when we were young, we didn't really hear like "I love you" and didn't get hugged a lot, or because we're
Yeah.
Asian. And then we talked to Lizzie Liz, and she's like same thing, right?
Yeah.
Because we're Asian. And it's not a knock to our parents. Like they
It's
they
just
did their
culture.
best. It's just culture. We had a roof over our head. We ate really well. We didn't want for anything, but the emotional side of caring was just a little bit
Distant.
distant. Yes, distant. But we're grateful for it. Parents. I know my parents are always listening, so super grateful for it. But now, when I understood where you came from, and I felt like I just got to know you last year, even though we've been together forever, I was like, oh, that's why you don't want to change silly, stupid things that I think is silly and stupid, and it's going to make us better.
Mm-hmm.
So for me to understand and go, okay, so you're just as hurt and feeling unsupported just as much as me. So if I feel like if both people, both wives, because sometimes when wives complain about husbands, I feel like they don't really realize that they're a part of that. They're a part of that cycle. You're also in there turning that cycle of toxic patterns and toxic behaviors. And we have to take, I feel as wives, we have to take responsibility for that. And then go, okay, now that I know, how can I help support you? How can I help serve? How can I put my ego away? Or, and it's hard to do that because maybe you're still hurt, but you have to say you're still hurt,
Mm-hmm.
like I did so many months ago. And so, that was, I've been thinking about it for a while, and I was like, I don't know how we started to really pivot. Like, it was just one thing after another. Like, we had some explosive arguments, but then we came back, and like, instead of doing it this way, like we always handle it, not talk about it, forget about it or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
we actually did something else. And then it's also the way you say it. I can't be like, I support you, and like have this tone or this energy about me that's
Yeah.
like, I told you so, or I'm superior, or whatever. Like,
Mhm.
it has to be, like you say, nurturing and nicer. I think wives have a tendency to not be nice because they're hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you mean? Like, if I ask myself, why am I mean? And I would think of myself as mean, I would be like, oh, it's because I'm hurt. It's because all those times I felt unsupported. And it comes out like that. It comes out mean because I'm still actually mad or still hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And then the same thing with you. Why you don't trust is because all those times you're like, that didn't work out. Now I'm going to remember it forever, that it may not work out. And so the trust is like hard to come easily for you.
Yeah.
And so now I get that, and now that I know that, I can help us pivot those times where I feel those toxic patterns come again. And I'm like, oh, this is that feeling again. There's that conversation again. Like, okay, cool. Now that you're aware, before we'd be unconscious and like, brah, again, all over, right? But now it feels more like, okay, it's happening. It's happening. And then I go, like, I try to like flush all my madness or irritation or frustration. Like, it's still there for sure, but I try to flush it out, and I don't let it come out through my voice. And like a perfect example was like 3 weeks ago or whatever with the shabu shabu thing. I think we handled that pretty well.
Hmm.
What do you think?
I forget that. I
We
don't
were like-
remember.
That was right before we did all the changes, so like 2
Uh-huh.
weeks ago, I guess.
It's funny how you remember certain things and I remember the other things.
That's true, 'cause you
Yeah.
remember stuff that I'm like, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it impacts a person differently.
Yes.
Yeah. So if it didn't impact you, then I don't.
It impacted me.
Yeah, it impacted you.
For sure.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Remember,
that.
like, okay, I just felt like that was a time where we could pat ourselves on the back, 'cause I
Mhm.
felt us going to our typical toxic pattern where I say something to you, maybe it wasn't as nice, you
Mhm.
take it as very defensive, and then you're like, I don't want to change, nothing, right?
Yeah.
You're like, I don't want to grow, and I'm like, okay. and then, but then I was,
Oh, now I remember.
remember? And then
Yeah.
I was able to like
I
not
was like, I
take
don't
it
want to.
personally.
I don't want to move from this cow land.
I don't want to prove it. Yeah, I was like, these are lies.
This is it.
Yeah, this is it. I was like, no,
Okay,
these are
I
lies.
remember it.
Remember?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna let all my emotions and frustration and irritation drain, and become like, to me, this is my best tool. I'm not very good at it yet, but this is how I do it. Like, if any women are wondering, how do you not be mad? Like, how do you not let it affect the way that you talk to your partner? It's like, yes, I'm still mad. I acknowledge that I'm mad. I acknowledge that I'm angry. But then I go like, when I told my cousin, I was like, I let all my emotion drain. All of it. Not happy. I'm not, maybe I'm a little sad, a little peeved, whatever. And I just try to be as like, how do you say, like, devoid of motion as possible. And then I focus on the goal, which is like, dude, I want to do this change. I want to do your email. I want to make our life better. So how do I communicate that? And I'll think, and then I'll try to consider what's your love language. How am I going to communicate to you? How am I going to pitch it to you? And then we were able to like get back to, I forget our conversation, but like with that in mind, and then you saw that I was calming down, that I wasn't perpetuating your irritation too with the changing and stuff. I think we both came back to normal fairly quickly. And like even you like hug and kiss me after, like, oh, you're right, B, like that, right? And before I would be like, me, like, don't talk to me, don't touch me. But I was like, meh, like that, right? Like how we do. And then I felt better. And I truly didn't feel still mad or irritated with you. I truly let it go. I truly